Today, we will walk with 7 people from the Bible. 7 stories of people who overcame anxiety and fear through God. A complete picture of how God meets us in the broken places. How God can heal regardless of your situation. Our guide for this is a beautiful promise from the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10. God says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." This is God's promise. I am with you. I will hold you up. Now, let's see how that promise came alive in the lives of 7 trembling hearts. Our first story takes us to David. He is in a dark cave with the smell of damp earth, hiding. Yes, the man who killed the giant Goliath. The future king. But to understand the man in this cave, we must go back. We must see David as a boy, anointed by the prophet Samuel. Oil poured over his head, a secret promise that he would be king. But then the promise seemed to curdle. He went from the hero who killed Goliath to the musician who soothed a jealous king. And that king, Saul, grew to hate him. The very man David served faithfully now hurled spears at him and hunted him across the wilderness. In this moment, in 1 Samuel chapter 22, he is none of those things. He is a fugitive king. Saul is hunting him to kill him. David hides in the cave of Adullam. The Bible tells us he was joined by others who were in distress or in debt or discontented. He was the leader of the desperate. Can you feel the air in that cave? Thick with fear, with the sour smell of sweat and panic. David's heart was full of fear. What if Saul find me? But in that cave, David picked up his pen. He did something miraculous. He wrote his fear into a prayer. We have it as Psalm 142. Listen to his words. "I pour out before him my complaint. Before him I tell my trouble. When my spirit grows faint within me, it is you who watch over my way." He didn't hide his fear from God. He poured it out. Complaint, trouble, a faint spirit, he laid it all bare. And in the telling, he remembered, "You are watching over my way." The promise of Isaiah was true for him in the dark. I am with you. God was in the cave, listening to every ragged breath. From a cave, we journey to our second story, now to a lonely desert under the scorching sun. Here lies a man under a broom tree. His name is Elijah. To understand Elijah's collapse, we must feel the height from which he fell. Just days before, on Mount Carmel, he had stood alone against 450 prophets of a false god. He had called down fire from heaven. The people had cried, "The Lord, He is God." He had prayed and ended a 3-year drought. It was the mountaintop of his life, a victory so profound it must have felt like he could never come down. But now, in 1 Kings chapter 19, a message from Queen Jezebel has unraveled him. "May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I do not make your life like that of one of them." One sentence, and the brave prophet becomes a broken man. He runs until he cannot run anymore. He collapses in the desert and prays a prayer that echoes in the emptiness. "I have had enough, Lord. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." This is not just fear. This is the total exhaustion that comes after fear has burned through everything else. Now watch what happens. An angel touches him. The angel doesn't scold him, doesn't say, "Have more faith." No, the angel has brought food. Bread baked over hot coals, a jar of cool water. "Get up and eat," the angel says. Do you see it? God's first response to Elijah's utter collapse was not a sermon. It was a meal. It was rest. "I will strengthen you." Sometimes God's strength comes as sleep, as a glass of water, as the basic kindness of caring for a body that has given out. Strengthened, Elijah travels to a mountain, and there God speaks, but not in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire. God comes in a gentle whisper, a still, small voice. And in that quiet, God gives Elijah a new friend, a new purpose, and the gentle truth: "You are not alone. I will uphold you." Our third story shifts from the harsh desert to a palace, but it is no less a prison. A young queen named Esther stands in her royal rooms, trembling. Esther's story begins with loss. She was an orphan, a Jewish exile raised by her cousin Mordecai. Then, in a twist she did not choose, she was taken to the king's palace, made his queen, but forced to hide her true identity, her people, her very soul. She lived in constant, quiet anxiety, a stranger in a golden cage. Then, in Esther chapter 4, the hidden danger became a public decree. A powerful man named Haman had convinced the king to annihilate every Jewish person in the empire. Esther's secret was now a death sentence for her and everyone she loved. Her cousin's message was clear: you must go to the king and beg for mercy. But the law was just as clear: approach the king without an invitation and you die. Fear wrapped around her heart like a cold, heavy chain. To stay silent was death. To speak was likely death. Die. Fear wraps around her heart like a cold chain. But Esther does not decide alone. She sends a message to her cousin Mordecai. Go, gather together all the Jews and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. She creates a circle of prayer. She turns her solitary terror into a communal cry to God. She leans on the faith of others when her own feels too small. Then she speaks the words that have echoed through centuries: and if I perish, I perish. This is not giving up. This is letting go. It is placing her fragile life into the hands of the God who holds the king's heart. She acted, but she did not act alone. The promise was fulfilled: I will help you. Now, let's step into the fourth story of Gideon. To see Gideon clearly, we must see the world he lived in. It was a time of terror. Enemies would sweep in, destroy crops, steal livestock, and leave his people starving and helpless. Fear was the normal air they breathed. So Gideon, in Judges chapter 6, wasn't doing anything unusual. He was thrashing wheat in a winepress, a pit used for crushing grapes, to hide the grain from the raiders. He was a man defined by what he was hiding from. Then an angel appears and calls him Mighty Warrior. The title must have sounded like a cruel joke. Gideon's reply was pure, anxious disbelief, rooted in a lifetime of feeling small. Pardon me, my Lord, but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family. God sees his fear, and God, in breathtaking patience, agrees to prove himself. Gideon lays a fleece of wool on the ground. God, if you are really with me, let the fleece be wet with dew tomorrow and the ground all around it be dry. And God does it. But Gideon's anxiety is deep. He is afraid he misunderstood. So he asks again, please don't be angry. Let me test once more. This time, let the fleece be dry and the ground be wet. And God again does exactly as Gideon asks. God was not offended by Gideon's need for reassurance. He built a fearful man's faith, one gentle confirmation at a time. I am with you, I will help you. From a Gideon, we walk into the fifth story found in the New Testament, in a busy, stressful home of Martha in Bethany. Martha's backstory is one of love and responsibility. She was a woman who took charge. Her home was a safe haven for Jesus, a place he returned to often. She felt the weight of that honor. She wanted everything to be perfect for her Lord: the food, the cleanliness, the hospitality. Her love expressed itself in diligent work. But on this day, in Luke chapter 10, the work became a whirlwind. The air smelled of baking bread and simmering stew, but also of rising panic. Her sister Mary was just sitting at Jesus' feet, listening, while Martha rushed about. But her sister Mary is just sitting at Jesus' feet, listening. In Luke chapter 10, Martha's worry boils over into frustration. She comes to Jesus and says, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. And Martha's worry, the fear of failing her special guest, boiled over into frustration. She came to Jesus, her voice tight with stress, and said, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. Her fear was the fear of things spinning out of control, of not being enough. Jesus looked at her. His voice was tender but clear. Martha, Martha, he said, saying her name twice like a soothing balm. You are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. He redirected her gaze. Her anxiety was a storm over many things. He invited her to the peace of one thing, the simple, necessary act of being in his presence. The promise was there for her, too. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. Sometimes peace is not about fixing everything, but about remembering the one thing that truly matters. Our sixth story is still on New Testament on a lake at night in a storm. The disciples of Jesus' tough fishermen are in a boat. Furious waves crash over the sides. These disciples were not novices. Peter, Andrew, James, and John were professional fishermen. They had grown up on this lake. They knew its moods, its dangers. But this storm in Mark chapter 4 was different. A furious squall arose. The word implies a sudden, violent whirlwind. Waves were not just rocking the boat. They were breaking over it, filling it. This was a fight for survival, and they were losing. And in the middle of the chaos, Jesus was asleep on a cushion in the stern, peaceful, untroubled. Their terror reached a peak. They shook him awake, their voices raw with accusation born of fear. "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Their fear shouted that he was absent, that he was indifferent to their plight. Jesus got up. He didn't first reassure the men. He spoke to the source of their terror. "Quiet, be still." And the wind died and the waves flattened into a great calm. Then he turned to his friends. He asked a question that echoes down to us in our own storms. "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" He wasn't shamming them. He was pointing to the glaring contradiction. The one who commands the universe is in your boat. How can you be so swallowed by fear when I am right here with you? The storm outside was nothing compared to the storm of fear inside. His presence was the answer to both. "I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Finally, we come to our seventh story back on the water. It is Peter in Matthew chapter 14. He sees Jesus walking on the lake. "Lord, if it's you," Peter calls, "tell me to come to you on the water." Peter, ever the impulsive one, had just witnessed the impossible. Jesus walking toward them on the uncalm water. The others were terrified, thinking he was a ghost. But Peter's faith, for a glorious moment, outran his fear. He called out, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," Jesus says. And Peter does. He steps out of the boat. He walks on the water. But then he makes a fatal shift. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and, beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." He took his eyes off Jesus and fixed them on the storm. Fear always makes us look at the waves instead of the Savior. But what happens next is pure grace. Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. Immediately. The rescue came first. Only after he had a firm grip on Peter did he say, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" The lesson came after the salvation. The strong hand was already there, reaching into the chaos. "I will strengthen you and help you." 7 stories, a complete picture. From David in the cave to Peter in the waves, the pattern is the same. Fear comes, it is real, it is powerful. But into every scene steps the same faithful God. He comes as a listener in the dark, as a provider of rest, as the focus of a community's prayer, as a patient builder of shaky faith, as a calm voice in a chaotic room, as peace in the storm, and as a strong hand reaching out to catch us before we drown. 7 is the number of completion, and this is the complete promise for David, for Elijah, for Esther, for Gideon, for Martha, for the disciples, for Peter, and for you. You do not have to be whole to be held. You do not have to be fearless to be loved. The God who makes all things complete is with you in your incompleteness. He is with you. He will strengthen you. He will help you. He will hold you up. You are not alone in your fear. You are in the company of saints who trembled, and you are in the grip of a God who will not let you go. Rest in that today.